Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of In the Studio with Carliss. Today, we have the distinct pleasure of having one of St. Cloud's most positive, impactful ladies that I've met since I've been in the downtown St. Cloud area, Miss Camille Levee. So, Camille, again, welcome to the
Thank you, Carliss.
podcast.
Great to be here.
It's great to have you. This was definitely impromptu. Sometimes you never know how the guests will arrive on the podcast, but sometimes you
My
just have
broom
to,
is by the door.
sometimes you just have to scoop them up and get them in the podcast area. So Camille, again, welcome. So for the people that don't know you, which is probably not many, can you kind of give us a brief introduction of who you are and kind of a little narrative of yourself?
Actually, I moved to St. Cloud 6 years ago during the pandemic.
Only six?
Only six. I know it seems like a lifetime. You hit a certain age and you want to be closer to one of the kids. And I have a daughter that lives in St. Cloud, so she got the luck of the draw because my son is in Arizona. He has a mother-in-law who has issues, so he didn't need another old lady. Uh, my daughter is up in northern Wisconsin. Her husband loves the cold weather, except it's 100 there today.
In
Uh,
northern
in northern Wisconsin.
Oh wow.
But they do have snow, and I spent many years in the snow. And so, no, thank you. So St. Cloud got the luck of the draw.
Absolutely.
In my career, I spent 30 years running nonprofits. Started with Girl Scout councils around the country, and was CEO, and then moved into the arena of domestic violence, ran domestic violence, emergency and transitional shelters,
Wow.
and then decided to retire. There is life after career.
Well, you are definitely an example of that. Definitely.
And so my husband passed away. It'll be 17 years ago, although he was always my best supporter.
As it should be.
And so I decided, okay, I'm done with California and it's time to move to St. Cloud. And I'm not going to do anything except maybe one or two things.
What? Yeah, you have your hand in everything.
Not quite, not quite. But that's kind of sort of me in a nutshell.
Okay. All right. That is a really, really good narrative. My firsthand experience when I moved into the downtown St. Cloud area as the Chamber of Commerce official photographer, I saw you at the first event. You embraced me. You told me what I needed to do to get involved. You told me who I needed to meet. So my success today is definitely owed to you.
Well, thank you. You're
For
kind. I just give suggestions, and sometimes people follow them, and sometimes they don't. No harm, no foul.
I like that. But what I like about it is you had no judgment. You just saw me as someone that was looking lost, and you said, you know what? Let me impart what I know to this young man and see where it takes him.
I always give everybody a first chance and a second chance. I truly, I am a Rotarian, and we have our wonderful ethical code, which I have translated into my personal life.
Okay.
And so, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
That's
Will
right.
it be beneficial to all concerned? And so I try to follow that. And there are a few people who don't quite agree with that code. And so they're not in my circle anymore.
Okay. Well, that's one thing about life. You have choices,
That's right.
and you can include or eliminate at any given point.
Correct.
So I'm going to follow the standard tradition of inside the studio with Carlos and ask you a series of questions, because what I want individuals to do that don't know you is to kind of get a better understanding of who you are, why you do what you do.
So they can run the other way when I tap them on the shoulder.
It's possible. But I guarantee you, if you follow her words of advice, you will definitely be on the road to success. So, Camille, what inspired you to become involved in serving your community? And how did that journey begin?
Actually, I always believe that God puts us in places for
Amen.
particular reasons.
Amen.
Sometimes I wish he would give me a heads up, but we go with the flow. But I actually, when we moved to Arizona, I had two kids. My daughter was 7 and wanted to be a Brownie Girl Scout.
Okay.
And so I went to the regular meeting and, and they did their, okay, well, we need a leader. And I said, well, I work full time. I'm new to the area. I don't camp. I have a little one at home. I don't camp, but I'll help.
Right, right.
That turned into a troop of 18 first, second, and third graders because there was no other leader.
Wow.
And when a new girl would want to join, the lady in charge of the volunteers would say, I've got this new girl. And I'd say, you know what? I have 14. I can't take any more. Need you to come work for us and go into these hard to serve areas with the Girl Scout message. And
Wow.
so I had the distinct honor in my career of starting the first Girl Scout troop in a homeless shelter,
Wow.
the first Girl Scout troop, if you remember back into the 80s. Oh, you're not old enough, but when we started getting Laotians, Vietnamese, and Cambodians into the country, relocated into the country, Phoenix was a hub at that time. And so I started the first Asian Girl Scout troop made up of Cambodians, Laotians, and
Wow.
Vietnamese.
Wow.
And it just kind of went on from there.
Wow. Wow. Camille, that's impactful. I'm not shocked, but knowing you, just that's you.
My philosophy is you got to try it once. If it doesn't put someone's life in jeopardy or break a law, why not try it?
I like
It
that.
might work.
I like that. I definitely like that. Okay. Can you share a community project or explain your most proud project that you've been a part of?
I have to say I've been a Rotarian for 29 years. I have to say I became a Rotarian with this project. I was not yet president of my club, but had joined Rotary in California.
Okay.
And one of the things that they wanted to do was there's a program in Mexico very similar to our Habitat for Humanity, where you have to own the piece of property and you have to pay for the cement footing, but a Rotary group will come in and build a house in a day for these people who never had a house or a roof over their head. Now, it's not a house like you or I have.
Sure, sure.
Uh, it's one room with a loft and has an area that you can put plumbing in it on future day. It has 3 windows, but most importantly, and what brought tears to my eyes was when you handed the key to the family and they now had a door that locked.
Wow. The little things.
And you see grandma and mama and the kids and tears running down their faces. That's my Rotary moment. We always talk about what's your Rotary moment. That was it. Now, I continued to do that project. We would go down every summer, and it was done in a day, but we would go down every summer. I graduated or declined as I got older from actually nailing shingles on the roof to supervising the teen group on how to paint the walls.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
But I did that for about 7 years, and each time was very impactful.
That's special. My Rotary moment was this past holiday season, and we distributed food and gifts to the families. The same experience, watching the kids stand behind the parents at the door, realizing there is going to be a Christmas with toys and a meal
Mhm.
was amazing. It was very impactful. So that's my Rotary moment.
I participated in that program, and there's a residential motel in town that I had to deliver to. And mom and the kids were absolutely ecstatic. And then it dawned on me they're in a motel room.
Yeah,
How are they going to cook a turkey?
yeah.
And so I said, I have a turkey. I'm not sure how. And she said, no, 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 no. Our manager allows us to use their oven. And
Wow.
I thought, that's what it is. It's the community coming together to
Sure.
help people become self sufficient.
Yes. Can you share a story about someone whose life was positively impacted by your work? Now, you just shared that story,
I did.
but I'm sure you have another one.
Well, I was part of, I grew up in a family of domestic violence.
Oh, wow.
My and interestingly enough, we always quote that, 1 out of every 4 women is a victim. The lesser known fact is that 1 out of every 7 men is a victim. And in my house, it was my dad who was the victim and my
Wow.
mom who was the perpetrator. And it took me a long time to come into that. But I think that's what made me then get into the domestic violence arena was the opportunity to help other women. And so as part of the Women's Commission in Another Life, they would do a summer camp for young women to empower young teenage women and invited me to come in and talk to the girls about domestic violence, how it can get started. You never even know. And that was just at the beginning of starting the verbiage human trafficking because that was not in our vernacular back then. But I did a really great I thought it was a great presentation. And these are teenage girls, and so you give them all the, okay, well, this is the behavior that you watch for.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
And unbeknownst to me, the facilitator of the program had them each write thank you notes
Wow.
for my presentation.
Wow.
And they gave me those thank you notes. And one of them I have still kept because she said, I didn't recognize what was going on in my family until you spoke to me. And I want to make sure that my children don't suffer the same way.
Wow.
And thank you for
Wow.
your words. So
Wow.
you never know whose life you're going to touch and in what way you're going to touch them. So you better put your best foot forward.
Absolutely. And, just from this podcast episode, I'm going to take that same message. I'm sure that someone is watching that the words that you shared today will impact them in some way or someone that they know that they can encourage to watch this episode. So, wow, I knew it was going to be powerful, Camille, because again,
I've had a long life. I'm old. What can
no,
I
no,
tell you?
but it's one thing to be old, but it's another thing to be old, as you say, but to share your knowledge and your wisdom.
Hey, it's free for the asking, and if you don't want to take it, that's fine with me.
All right,
Fine.
moving right along. Thank you, Camille. What advice would you give to someone who wants to make a difference, but they don't know where to start?
I would say start with what you know and who you know. Our community is full of worthwhile causes, some more so than others. But what is it that really you are interested in? For example, when I moved here, I said, okay, veterans are important. And thank you for your service, Carliss.
You're welcome.
My husband was World War II and really respect that he did that. So I am involved in veterans issues. Reading, literacy, books is important. And so I joined the Friends of the St. Cloud Library because that allows me to get that knowledge out there, to put those books out in the community. In fact, on the 23rd, there's a great program at 6:30 in the evening, and we'll be giving free books to all the kids who attend.
Wow, free.
Free. When there are family events, the Friends of the Library are there to hand out, let the kids pick out a book or two to take with them. Because if you put a book in the hand of a child, you've got a lifelong reader.
Yeah, you open so many doors.
Yeah. So I would look at what is it that you're interested in or that has impacted your family as a cause, and then get involved, jump in.
Wow.
You will learn along the way, and it will be much more, it will bring many more rewards to you than you can possibly imagine.
Wow. That's a really good answer,
Your
Camille.
local Rotary Club. You
We-
want to help the community? You don't have to be in business to do it. Rotary is available and provides an opportunity and a platform.
Right. I agree wholeheartedly. Just recently joined a Rotary Club within the last year. It's everything Camille has said. It's taught me a lot about me as a person overall, but just about community, how to get involved. What does that look like? So I'm a big fan of Rotary, and I've met some amazing people along the way. So I'm definitely excited about the Rotary, and I echo what Camille said.
There is no other organization that allows younger people the ability to learn the soft skills of business and presentation in a warm, friendly, accommodating manner than Rotary. I mean, you learn how to make presentations, you learn basic, I hate to say it, but our young people sometimes lack in etiquette skills.
100%.
But you learn very quickly. Put that phone down, put it on mute.
That's right. That's right. Okay, Camille. What exciting projects or events do you have coming up that our audience should know about?
My goodness.
I know there's a long, long list.
No, actually, I try to schedule things so that there's some rest time in between.
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Okay.
So, the library has 2 book sales a year. The next one's not coming up until January. We're done with that. However, if you wanna learn if your listeners would like to learn more about what the Friends of the Library does, we have an ice cream social that's happening on August 1st from 1 to 3 at the library.
Okay.
So they're welcome to come and find out what kind of projects we support, what we do with the money that we raise. It all goes back into the St. Cloud Library and into scholarships for young people. So summer is kind of sort of a quiet time.
Okay.
So there aren't too many projects going on right now.
Okay. But please tell them about your tour, the
Oh,
walking tour of St. Cloud, because I actually experienced that tour a couple of weeks ago. And I learned so much in a short period of time about the history of St. Cloud. And it's amazing that Camille has only been here for
6
6 years,
years.
and the knowledge that she has about the downtown St. Cloud area, which was amazing. So I'll let you share a little bit of information about the tour.
Well, probably what a lot of people don't realize, and I am a member of the women's club, that was a happenstance. Never planned on doing that. But the women's club has a duty to maintain the local museum. A lot of people don't know that we have a museum in town.
Yes.
So we maintain the museum. We volunteer our time. It's strictly volunteer and it's open on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 11 to 3, as long as we have the volunteers. That's one of our women's club projects. As a result, I started doing History of St. Cloud walking tours, and they grow a little bit each time because I talk to people along the way, and you always pick up a new tidbit or have an old timer who shares something. But they're 1 hour tours. We cover about a mile, and we ask a donation to the museum of $10. If you don't have the $10, don't worry about it. But that's what helps us keep our exhibits fresh and our technology new.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But we do start with Hamilton Diston and the 1890s and the sugar mill and move on up through probably about 1945 and talk about the buildings and some of the background and who were some of the characters. There's also a historic home tour, which the museum puts on in January, that also takes you to different special homes in the area that may have been around at that point in time. A lot of people don't realize that a number of our veterans bought homes through the Sears Roebuck catalog,
Wow.
and those kid homes are a community here in St. Cloud. So,
Wow.
and I do the walking tours. You can contact the museum. I do them upon request whenever we have a couple of people who say, "Hey, I'd like to do that." Too much in the summertime. It's a
Yes.
little hot.
We did it, but it was very hot. We were early in the morning, very hot, but we were all hydrated. One of the things that stayed with me is some of the artifacts that's in the museum.
Mhm.
Amazing. You have to take the time to come down and just go visit the museum. I think you will really be surprised, especially if you're a historian and want to see some of the artifacts that help form St. Cloud in the museum. It's totally amazing. And Camille's knowledge is second to none. It's
That's that
from
history major. What can I tell
yeah,
you?
it's second to none when you're talking about learning more about your overall community. So, Camille, if you could leave our listeners with one message about the importance of giving back and strengthening our community, what would it be?
I think you covered it in the word community. We are a community. In just the short time that I've been here, I've watched us grow by about 40,000 people.
Wow.
But it takes a community to make a city. You go on, and I'm not a Facebook person, and I don't troll the web or the social media. But all you hear is people complaining. They complain about the traffic. They complain about city government. They complain about not enough this. They complain about not enough that. Or why do I have to drive somewhere else to get this? You can complain all you want, but with the privilege of criticism comes the responsibility for change.
I like that. Can you say that one more time?
With the privilege of criticism comes the responsibility for change. And if you don't like something, for example, I'll use myself as an example. Occasionally I do bite my tongue because I don't want to get involved. However, I mentioned I feel very strongly about the library. In doing some research, I found out that our library system in Osceola County is actually contracted out to a for-profit library company out of Maryland. So the powers that be at that point in time made the decision, whatever, that they no longer wanted to finance a county library. They would contract that out and just pay a set fee every year and not have to deal with collections and buildings and staffing and all of that stuff. So I personally, not speaking on behalf of anybody but me right now, I personally have a problem with that. So I went back to my county commissioner and said, "How did this happen and how can I get involved?" Well, I'm president of the County Library Advisory Board.
I guess that's a really good way to get involved. But I like that, Camille, because you talk the talk, but you walk the walk as well. So, and again, knowing you, that's indicative of who you are. And again, I just really want to thank you for taking time out to join the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
And share the information. And as I tell you and all my previous guests, this will not be your last time.
Okay.
Would love to have you come back and just talk about other things that's going on in the community, things that are near and dear to your heart. So when you now see Miss Camille Levee out in the community, you have a little better understanding of who she is, and you can understand why she's always on the go, high energy, because she's passionate about the community and
In my
making
high heels.
100% in her high heels. And I ask her all the time, how do you walk on these cobblestone streets with those high heels? But she does it gracefully, swiftly, and she's always there, always on time. So Camille, again, thank you for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks for the opportunity and for being so kind.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I speak from the heart.
I know you do. And I appreciate it.
And I appreciate you for who you are. So with that being said, thanks you again, listeners, for joining the podcast. And who knows, one day you could be in the studio with Carliss. Thank you.
Very good. How long was that?
Not long.
No, it wasn't.
It was 30 minutes, right at 30.
Doesn't seem like it, but that's okay.
26 minutes.
And no commercial breaks.